There you go.
Okay. All right. So this is your home page when you initially go into Workday. A lot of times it does not look like this. You can set it up this way with all the different views and the different worklets. I'm going to show you how to do it. Typically, everything's going to look like this, with the little hazard sign. So I'm going to refresh. I'm going to kind of take this back to how yours would look like. All right. So probably looks like that, right?
Okay.
Click here. I'm going to go to edit settings. Then you're going to put in your hierarchy. So we're going to do region BM.
BH.
Oh, sorry. BH.
And EM is the dining.
Okay. Now with yours, you're able to do two of them. Okay. So it'll combine them. Okay.
Okay.
Like one master region for you, but you'll be able to do some cool things in that. But when you go and navigate them, you can get those together, whatnot. So there's your June card. Okay,
Okay.
that's the operating statement.
Okay.
Now you can do the same thing with scorecards, whatever, if you wanted to. Honestly, the only thing I really use on here is like revenue by management and like operating statement. Now up here is where you go to find the different worklets. Okay, so these are the two that automatically come up that you can set, and over here is where you can add. You can only add up to 6, but if you want to add them, you click here, then you click all, and then there's a couple different ones that you can pick if you wanted. You can
Now
do like
the worklets, are those like widgets on that
yes,
landing page? Okay.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
That makes sense.
And a lot of times I go and live in there if I need quick information. Well, if I was a DO, when I was a DO, I would live in, I would just go right there because I don't have to go take that extra step because it's right there.
Because it's right there. That makes sense. Okay.
Yep. So that's where you would,
In turn, can a DM do set up their landing page like that
yes, sir.
with their
They're,
scorecard? Okay, cool.
yes, sir. They're going to have the scorecard, which is right down here,
Okay.
right? Which is all the same stuff minus the GP, minus the accruals.
I see. Okay.
That's why, like at the end of the day, raw hardcore 287.05, right? That's raw dollars. Like doesn't have any, has all the controllables in there. Let's say that.
Sure, sure.
Okay. So, and historically, you would always go in over here to get to where your landing page is, but now you have everything here. So, like
So real quick,
here,
the difference between, just so I'm understanding, the difference between the operating statement and the scorecard is basically the GP and the accruals. Is that what you're saying?
that's it, buddy.
Okay, cool.
Now, this right here, like once you have your set up and you wanted to look at revenue for all of your buildings, this has both of them combined, so you're going to be able, it's going to pull all those buildings for you in both sides. Okay, so like a one-stop shop for you instead of having to go over here and key in region EM, region because like here, if I wanted to find out, okay, uh dining,
Okay.
what suppliers did I get in there that month or
Okay.
whatever, like you know what I mean, it
Yeah, the
just
little drop down. No, that's cool
yeah.
that you can
Well,
pull all the suppliers. Now, would that be just the suppliers that would actually invoices hit, or would it just show all the listing of the suppliers?
Well, just wait until we get into the nitty and gritty. I just want you
Okay.
to know that
No, you're good. Yep.
yep, this is where you can live once you master this.
Okay.
So DOs and above have this. Okay. DMs do not have this. The
Okay.
customer contract amendment log. And what that is I'm just going to pick a call center that I typically use for my presentations that I've memorized. Not every building has history. Workday came around about 2019 is when we started putting history in here. It's getting better day by day, but not everything's there. So, excuse me, before you go to the contracts, take a peek here. It'll get you what you need. So here I'm going to put in my call center or my facility ID. And you could do amendment, you can do contract, but I just want to look at the history. It's easier that way. I just want to see the history of this account.
Okay.
So I hit OK. Now there's my building. There's my transformer face that we talked about earlier.
Mhm.
Right. I come over. Now here I had 2021 contract renewal. I had a monthly increase of 45.67 with a 22 contract renewal. Beautiful. Here's my increase.
That's in essence the amendment.
No, this is my BCR.
BCR. Okay.
Right. But that's cool that it's right there for you, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I want to go to another building, right? Same thing. I come up here, I get that building out. Aaron 40. Okay. Scroll over. Boom. Here's logs, right? Here's what's going on. Here's our
Okay.
adjustments. There's BCR. That one didn't make it in there, but at least it told us the number for the weekly increase. But now this addendum is in there. So if you see that this is recent, right? Recent, we're getting better here.
Yeah.
Okay, for this to have all of our information there. So this, same thing here. This has that BCR.
Makes sense.
All right.
That's a cool feature to get the history.
Sure is. Now, the HWP report, this is a little bit different from my view than your view. You're going to probably have to navigate it with having two regions, but your DMs and typical DOs with one region would not have the hierarchy here. Or you may, I forget, but I know at DM you wouldn't. You would just have to put in your period. So
And
here,
HWP stands for what?
health, welfare, pension.
Okay.
So here I'm going to do KF36. Always do the hierarchies because when you do just the cost center, it's just that, for a district or for a region, that's just going to show you that landing page. So Michael Montavo's actual budgeted page, the cost center is going to have all the everything rolled up in there.
Gotcha.
So then I would want to do June 2023. And this is one that I would not necessarily export in this view. Now, what you can do is you can do a couple different things. You have your drop downs where it's going to view your details. There's all of your employees in this district.
Okay.
You could do here by cost center, right? Which is there. So you can see all those. You can PDF these, Excel, which, PDFs work great if you're able to dig down. They're a little bit more digestible than they are, in Excel.
Sure.
Now, when you do export this, I'll show you what it looks like. There's not much. You're not going to get much detail. That's why I say don't really export it. It's just going to give you that high level roll up. It's not going to give you the actual breakdown for each building.
Gotcha.
But if you, come here, view details, you could then do it this way, cost center. Right. I only see how that's, let me see here. View details. It goes back to there. This one doesn't let you flip around. Okay, but that's basically the best way to do it. Go
Okay.
per building and then export it out. So let's go back over here. All right, so your sales journal and your purchase journal, you export them the same way. Now, your sales journal is all your revenue that was booked that month, regardless if it hit HCSG's account or not, because everything just hits your district page as planned or your region page.
Okay.
Sales journal and purchase journal, again, are pooled the same way. I'm only going to show you how to pool the purchase journal because if I wanted to look at my sales, this is how I would look at my revenue. So here's my revenue booked for the month. Here's my revenue budgeted for the month. There's my variance. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, if I wanted to see what buildings had that variance right away, and this is one report I encourage that once ops are closed, you run this report this exact way. You hit that drop down, you come to cost center, come up here to PDF. Here's all your revenue variance in 30
Gotcha.
seconds,
That's perfect. Then
right?
you're gonna know what's gonna hit the AFR file because anything within 5%, right, is what's gonna hit the.
5% GP. So you could have revenue expense. You could be over 10,000 in revenue and under 10,000 expenses and not hit the FR. That's why
Okay.
it's 5% off in GP. But
GP.
your revenue should be tight. You shouldn't have crazy variances like this,
Right.
right? You should always be around 1% or less.
Okay.
Anything above 2%, what's going on there? Is that a budget mod? Is it weekly billing? You should be dead on. If it's reoccurring monthly billing and there's no rebills in there, it should be dead on.
Okay.
But now I want to take that one step further. So there's my overages, but I want to see, Doug, did you have any rebills in there? Well, I don't know. Let me go to the hub. Don't waste your time. Go to your revenue, click on your cost center, and then you're going to click on invoice type, PPD, rebill, recurring manual, and you're going to hit refresh. And this is going to show you where you had a rebill at Hampton, even though it's not yours. There's your rebill. There's your reoccurring. There's your variables. There's
Yeah.
your adjustments. Again, this right here is beautiful. This accompanies that other PDF. Now you know everything that's going on with your revenue by
Yeah.
two PDFs. All right. So that's how I would pull my revenue there. Just like how I showed you. That's why I wouldn't go into the sales journal because it's Excel. It's so much easier and cleaner in that PDF. So now the purchase journal, that's what I showed you earlier on those drives. The purchase journal is key. In dining, it should be ran every single week by a DO and a DM. The reason why I say a DO and a DM, it should be standard for a DM because it's their business, but a DO should always keep an eye out because it's their business as well and make sure that nothing's missed. So I would run this every Sunday or every Monday morning. So we're going to act like, hey, we're running it here on Sunday. And I'm going to do it for both your regions here since you're unique. So I am going to do region BH and I am going to do region EM. Okay. Now that pulls up everything. So I don't need anything else. If I wanted to go down the rabbit hole, let's say you had 60 buildings, you had Ventura, you had Protege, whoever, Mickey Mouse.
Hmm.
You could type those in. Like right here, I could type in Ventura and just pull those if I wanted to pull one building.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, so you just type in your names, hit enter, and then you're able to hit those different check marks. All right, so now this is being both. So just leave these up. Now, if we were just looking at housekeeping or dining, it's okay to leave these here because
Okay.
it's gonna go to the correct service segment. Don't worry about Xing these out. If you wanted to just look up a supplier, you could look up a supplier if you wanted to.
Gotcha.
But the way I would do this is exactly this. Cost center hierarchies, boom, my accounting date. Invoice date is when I purchased the item. Accounting date is when we paid for it. So I want to look at so far what do we have in July hitting. I want to make sure that I stay ahead of out of period invoices. So I want to Workday updates every night, every 24 hours. So I want to always go to day before. So I'm going to go to the 15th. I'm going to hit
Okay.
OK. Okay. Now it's a 50-50 shot. At the end of the month, it'll probably give you that notify waiting. At times, it will pull up this way. This view is cool if you're looking at one building at a time, or if you're looking at two buildings, or you just want to take a quick scrub.
Okay.
I do not, I say, as soon as you do this, my next step is always to export it.
Yeah, because you got to set up your filters.
Yep. So I'm gonna export that, right? And I'm gonna view it, freeze it. Okay. Now, the next thing I'm gonna do, so I want to keep an eye on my out of period, right? There's my accounting. There's my invoice date. So I'm going to take this invoice date and I'm going to spin this oldest to newest. Right there. I'm able to see. Now, look, this has credit card expenses. We know they're a month behind. Okay.
Right.
So now what I can do is I can come down here and I can do spend category. And anything COS is, COS, SGA, all that, cost of services, all that jazz, yada, yada, yada. This is healthcare charge, healthcare charge, healthcare, 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 healthcare. Okay. So now there's all of our purchases. So now let's come over here to the invoice date. So very few. Okay. It looks like those Selvitos, which that's getting charged to that building, right?
Yep.
That's
Yep.
why
That's,
that didn't come off. And so that's right. Okay. So now let's go through what this is. Cost center, again, make sure any forms you put together, we can build anything. You notice that's on everything we export.
yeah, I see that.
Region, district, location, GL template, right? So you have different templates. So diet fixed variable with RD. Housekeeping and linen.
Okay.
Service segment, only dietary or housekeeping. There's your invoice number, your reporting transaction, your status, your supplier. So of your different suppliers, however you want to look at it. Invoice number,
That's
date.
helpful. Yeah.
Yep. Memo, internal, supplier category, cost center, supplier GPO, all the different costs. And look at this. Spent $50 on 2% milk.
Yeah, that particular location doesn't have a local milk vendor, so they're out of order guide.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But either way, it's going to show you the breakdown, the descriptions of what you bought,
Yeah.
right? So if someone like is saying, you know what, where do we buy black stripper pads at this month? Right there.
Yeah.
Where do we, where are we going crazy with ice cream? Where our biggest
Well,
purchases
and
are ice cream.
it's also a good chance for me to validate some of the explanations I get on the scorecards from the DMs because if they tell me, if they tell me that if they doing a POC and it was all stripper and wax, I could break this down and click on who bought wax this month, and if that location didn't buy any wax, then obviously I can challenge that explanation.
Exactly. Now, do you know how to make a pivot table?
I actually don't know. I've seen a
Okay.
bunch of them recently. That's been
All
like the
right.
new.
So pivot tables are very easy to make, and this is one I suggest making a pivot table with. So the way you're going to do this is you're going to click in A1,
Okay.
and then you're going to hit Control Shift and the right arrow. Going to take
Control
you all
shift.
the way over like this,
Okay.
and then you're going to hit Control Shift down.
Control
Okay.
shift.
So
Okay.
that
Basically
highlighted
highlighting all the cells.
all of your cells, right? Now, of course, you could go highlight them manually, but that is the easiest way to highlight your cells.
No, that's perfect. Okay.
Insert, pivot table. Okay. This comes up. Now, all you have to do is think of how you want to look at it. Well, I want to look at each cost center. I want to look at each location. Okay. So I'm going to look at my locations. Boom. Okay. So now I want to look at, their suppliers. So there's their supplier broken down underneath of them now.
Okay.
Let's just keep it that easy, right? Let's just say I want to see what buildings, if they got their suppliers all in this month and what their total cost is month to date. So I'm going to go over here to my gross amount and I'm going to pull that down to here, down to the
Okay.
value. So there's all of my dollars. Now you could keep it here if you wanted to, or you could go here to pivot table options. Oh, wait, now you're putting me on the spot. I do this all the time. Oh, sorry. Come over here to the values, hit the drop down value field settings.
Okay.
Come down here and you want to stick with sum, number format, currency. I want to get rid of the decimals. I want to hit OK. Boom. Now, if I wanted to sort this from highest to lowest, I could do that. Okay. Now, let's say I want to look at what did they buy it, from each supplier. I could click on this line memo and bring it down underneath here.
Gotcha.
And now I could see everything in 2 seconds.
That's so much easier than going to DSSI and click, 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 click. That's what I've been doing, is going to DSSI and then clicking on each order and having to scrub it down. This is amazing.
Now I want to be able to see this. And now I want to freeze this, right? So the freeze panes remains the same. Anything above is what you're looking to freeze. So freeze panes. Now I got everything there. So of course, get in the habit of always saving that. Now, if I wanted to put here, I could collapse entire field. Now everything's clean there. So now if I want to get fancy, I can go click on my field and go here to insert slicer. Well, what do I want to look at? I want to look at by location, supplier, and let's just say region. Heck with it. There we go. So now I got that. Now I got that. Oh, now I got that. So now I just want to, I'm going to do this. Expand entire field. There's everything. But I just want to look at Golden Glades now. Now we can just look at that. Miami Springs. Here we go.
Wow.
See how easy that was? And you guys think I'm
Yeah,
spending all
it's
you
very,
think
very
I'm spending all day making
such
these
a
things.
simplified view.
Yeah.
Because this is one of those that when I have my regional meetings, I would also, if my DMs were doing presentations up there and they're going over their stuff, I would already have this pre-made going into the regional meeting so that way I can, go line by line and question where everything's at.
Yep.
Oh man, that's cool.
All right. So that purchase journal, especially think about this. If you had 50, 60, 70, 80 buildings, I would save you.
A lot.
Right. And whenever you go through these, just remember, utilize this expand collapse field. And you don't have to hit the pluses.
Right.
All right. So I'll send that to you when we're done. All right. So that is the purchase journal. Again, same thing you can do with the sales journal. All right. So there's all of your detail reporting. Now the DM scorecard, right? This DM scorecard is let's do it for your district. Uh
Two is housekeeping, and EM25 is the dining.
EM20.
EM25 and BH262.
EH262. Thank you. All right, so EM25. Again, call center hierarchy. Again, you can leave all this stuff in there. Now, this is a great view for a DM once they learn how to navigate it, because then you can go to your cost centers and do all the same stuff as a DO. Okay. But until they're used to navigating it, going by cost center is the best way on an export and kind of work backwards that way. So I'm going to get out of here and I'm going to go to the scorecard. So here I'm going to do EM25 hierarchy and I'm going to hit OK. Now, this is one that you do not want to look at live because you lose everything.
Right.
So this is one you want to export. notify me later. And until a DM gets used to it, I recommend all the DOs getting this set up for them, kind of do the work for them exactly how I'm going to do it with you. So EM 25 June 23 scorecard. And then since I'm here, I'm going to pull the scorecard for you on the other building or on the other district for you too. BH 262. See how quick that came?
Yeah.
BH 262 June 3. So right when you do it, right, obviously we want to save, protect it, right, save our header and save all this information. So we're going to go right to this column, view freeze panes, boom. Now, after each building, right, there's a column. That's where your DM should be able to explain everything. Come over here, there's your 3. Pull this out so they can see everything. There's your scorecards. You can go to town, see everything that we saw, right?
Right.
Okay. I don't need this right now. Got that downloaded. So I would download and then kind of, get out of there, right? And teach everyone how to fish in the actual DM scorecard. Now, once you learn how to fish in the field, scorecards, all the same stuff, just minus the items that we talked about. Now, operating scorecard, same thing as DM scorecard, including the accruals and the GP. So if I wanted to go to a scorecard, right, and I'm going to teach you the scorecard first so that we can see this. EM 25, because this is all, once we run through the DO, it'll all make sense here. All right, see how it's all easy to digest.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's different drop downs in the DO than there is the DM, but for the most part, you can do everything. So now revenue. There's your revenue, your $83,000 off. Where? View details right there on my variance line. There's all of it. If I wanted to sort it from ascending, I could do that. If I wanted to sort it from descending, you can do that in all the views. If you wanted to do this from ascending, do that. Export PDF. But there we are to be able to see where our revenue is. Now, if I wanted to see, did I have any BCRs? I would here go to cost center, come over here down to invoice type PPD rebill, refresh. There we go. Tells me all the same stuff that a DO would have. Revenue, right?
Right.
Now I go to payroll. I look at frontline associates. Raw cash here, 100% controllables, right?
Mm-hmm.
Account manager had accrual on your page, right?
Looks like it.
Controllable, not on the DM. That's why the DM scorecard is so important. This is raw cash.
Right.
So there's no games here. This is all the controllables. Now, same thing here. If I wanted to see my payroll variances, I could see it by buildings. Okay. if I wanted to see overtime, all right, cost center, sorry. There's the cost centers that had the overtime in them.
Wow.
So
That's cool.
ultimate, and I'm gonna go more into the DO. That's where we're gonna go down the rabbit hole. But I guess my point is the DM. This is why you should be using the scorecards. Now this has that accrual because that's a controllable. That's the purchasing. The rebates come back with there. Okay, but they don't have the payroll rules. We got to have the food in there, but we can't have the payroll in there. You get what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So that's why the scorecard reigns supreme. All right. So now let's go in here as a DO. And if you can navigate it as a DO, you can certainly navigate it as a DM. So I'm going to pick a region that you're not in. Okay.
Okay.
Uh, all right. And the reason I'm picking that is I don't want you to know any stories or think any more other than just saying, hey, wow, okay, this is how we navigate Workday.
Okay.
So here I'm off 37 grand. I'm light. Okay. Why? What buildings is driving this? Okay. I'm gonna go to cost center.
Center. Okay.
Okay. So here's where I'm over. Here's where I'm under.
Okay.
PDF. Boom. All right. I just gotta send you this. I know. So now I've been over here all 51 grand year to date. Well, what buildings were they? I can see the cost centers year to date. Okay. See
Gotcha.
all year where I've been. Now, if I wanted to see what months was I off the most, I could click here on posting interval,
Hmm.
and there's the months that I was off.
Gotcha.
If here's, my current quarter to date, budgeted quarter to date, right? And this is good because it's June, right? So there's a good snapshot. So we can say, all right, in Q2, right? We saw that revenue was off in January and June. That holds true. There was a prior to period there. Now, last year, if I wanted to look at the revenue, click over here, I go cost centers. There's my revenue. Okay, that helps me. But what was Aberdeen in January? Well, let me see here. Let me pull this up. There's January of 2022's revenue.
Gotcha.
Okay. So that's how you would pull all of that up. Your payroll, right? Same thing with here. And just let, because this is all going to become very repetitive. So here you can pull accounting dates, company, cost center, all kinds of things. But I'm going to tell you what you really need to worry about. Because think about this. Is district hierarchy going to do you any good? No.
No.
You know what they are, right? So it depends how you want to look at it. So
Yeah.
at the end of the
Cost
day,
center. Cost center seems to be the where you could find the bad apple.
yes, sir. Cost center is where you start 9 times out of 10. Now, if I wanted to look at customer, right? Not that doesn't have nothing, right? But if I wanted to come down here and look at management group, there's my management groups.
Gotcha.
Okay. But all it is really the same drop down time and time again. And does it apply for that question? Revenue category is going to apply in expenses, right?
Hmm.
Okay, what state are these payrolls coming out of? There you go. So those drop downs don't change. Now it's all about spinning everything. So here I go to cost center. Okay. But I also want to look, remember how I said, how do we look at the different revenues? Do I have any of the BCRs here? We went over this. Okay. So boom, but I want to look at it differently. All it is spinning things around in here to make it fit. Now watch how ugly this gets. That's all it is. It's just spinning everything around so you can digest it. Because looking at like this, if I downloaded this PDF, that would serve me no good, sir.
Yeah, no.
But if I know I got to spin it this way by that, and I'm going to get what I need, now,
Yeah, that makes a whole lot more sense.
and that's all it is really spinning to how I want it, right? Like here, if I want to look at, okay, I want to look at what state it's in. There's the revenue from all the states. Well, what management groups? There's my management groups.
Gotcha.
It's just literally just spinning around. Now, I want to know if they're unions? No.
Gotcha.
Union facility start date. It's all just about spinning around. If you know how to play Legos, you can play in Workday.
Yeah, I can see that.
Again, the transformer face here will take you around the different things if you need to. So now let's open up our payroll. Now that revenue expense I would do, break down this payroll by cost center. I would look at this. But now when you do that top side, that brings everything in. So if you wanted to really hone in and say, all right, what buildings, this might be the better one to look at, right? Because this frontline associate's going to tell me where I'm over in payroll and where I'm under in payroll. It's not going to have no accruals. It's roll dollars,
Mm-hmm.
right? Same thing with my overtime, right? He doesn't have any overtime. Or wait, let me expand this. All right, so there's my overtime, right? $8,300. Here's my overtime throughout the year. I could look at this by cost center, and I could look at this by period if I wanted to. And there's been my overtime trend right away.
God, that would save me so much time. I literally do that. I literally do that manually.
Don't, please don't. If you're doing anything manually,
That's what I've been
please,
doing. I've been doing every
please
like
shoot me a
month.
text. Yeah, no, shoot me a text and say, Doug, is there an easier way to do this? And I'll tell you if you still got to keep climbing a mountain or if there's an easier way to do it. But like here, period, cost center, again, just getting that information however you want throwing it down. This is more digestible in this view, right?
Yeah. Golly, man. Yeah, I literally just been I look it up on ePay, pull my report each pay period, and then I'm adding it in to watch my trends. And so I'm like
Nope.
creating that manually every month.
Now you'll see this is one I exported, okay? But because it's not going to fit on that sheet of paper and I can freeze the panes. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So same thing in here, man. I mean, at the end of the day, look, vacation, year to date. Well, where have I been? What months? Posting interval. So let me take you over here and show you these. Cost center, wait, hold on. So on the variance, it's a little bit different, right? You have cost center, posting interval. They're your two big ones. Okay. And then over here, the drop downs are all going to be the same. We can go back into last year and all that stuff. Now, expenses. If I wanted to find out of period invoices very quickly without doing anything. And remember, this updates along with the purchase journals, but it's easier to get someone to say, do that purchase journal exercise before they get to this. But if I wanted to do that, I would go Supplier invoice date. Oh, I got some stuff there. What's going on? When's that from? So let me come down here, supplier. All right, here we go. Jennifer Wade expenses from 1167. There's my breakdown.
Gotcha.
So you
And
see how
these all hit this month, or you did from January to now?
No, I don't. These were this month. Yes.
So these January invoices, that's how you're figuring out something that hits you from out of that you
Yep.
weren't expecting.
Yep.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yep. And look, I didn't even have to break down anything yet. Now I could also go here and I could go to service segment work tag. I could look at, or wait, hold on, let me come over here. Hold on. Spend category. I don't even have to open it up. I can just do this and see where I'm over budget. You ain't even got to play in Workday if you don't really want to.
Gotcha.
See how nice that is, Mike?
Wow, dude. That's
It's all
cool.
there.
That's very cool.
It's all there.
Yeah, once you get comfortable navigating, that's super easy to find out where your problems lie.
Yeah. And like, all right, so here's my buildings that are, well, what buildings did I make the money at? I could do that's whatever it is.
You were on the net income?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And then there's the buildings last year and all that stuff. But everything's just literally clicking on what you want and what do you want to look at? You want to look at the
And,
district
and,
hierarchy from last year?
and how you want to look at it.
Yeah, that's all it is, Mike. That's it, man. And now I come back out here. I come right here, go to my supplier invoice date. This is you, buddy. I come out here, I go to supplier. In 2 seconds, you know where all your invoices are by just logging into Workday.
Gotcha. So that Medline from March just hit.
Yep.
Wow. I would not have known that. Okay.
No, you wouldn't. You would have ran around at the end of the month with your head cut off saying, oh my gosh, where's this money at?
Yeah, exactly. Where's this 200? Because when I want to balance my checkbook, it should be line by line, tight. And
No.
I can't account for a couple $100 here and there, and I'm trying to figure out where it's at. That is amazing right there. That's cool.
Look at
I'm gonna,
that.
I'm gonna check that at the end of every pay period.
You see that? How you can sort everything if I can't see it and I wanted to sort everything, if I wanted to look at Medline, who's the highest to the lowest? What's my biggest invoices? Boom. Paid a
Gotcha.
$17,000 invoice on 6/2.
What location?
I don't know. You're gonna have to figure that out. Or I can hit this drop down button and I can see cost center, and there's your 17 grand that hit on 6/2.
Oh,
And there's
okay. So
cost.
for those locations, all that ones. Okay.
Bingo.
Gotcha. So yeah, when it comes to I need to spend some time on this piece of it. Is there a way to set up any kind of alerts that are invoices that hit you from out of, a certain range, a certain date range?
No. No.
Okay.
Mm-mm. Nope.
Gotcha. All right.
Done recording.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down.
All right. Tell me when you're done.